On this episode, we're taking it back to the basics as we use lightning lanes to maximize our day, indulge a D-Luxe burger and Rose and Crown, and wrap up with the Candlelight Processional featuring Ralph Macchio. Today's December 17th, 2024, and this is episode 729 of the Main Street Magic Podcast.
Jeremy and Rhonda are more than a little fond of Disney World, so they made this podcast to share it all with you. Reports and resorts, top 10 lists of all sorts. Main Street Magic's bringing it home for you.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Main Street Magic. I'm your host, Jeremy Stein, and as always, I'm joined by my lovely wife, Rhonda.
Hey guys! Make sure you check us out on the web at mainstmagic.com, as well as follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at mainstmagic, and on TikTok at MSM Podcast.
If you want to be part of the community and join the conversation, in addition to live streams from the parks and our weekly live show, head to Facebook and search for the Main Street Magic community and ask to join.
And don't forget to hit the subscribe button so you can get brand new episodes every Tuesday and Friday.
Planning a trip to Disneyland or Walt Disney World can be overwhelming and at times just downright frustrating. But don't worry, because Mouse Dining removes the frustration of booking Disney dining reservations, alerting you when they spot availability for your desired restaurant, date, meal, and time. Visit msmfriends.com to use this free service. Ready for your next bucket list trip? Our trusted partner, MEI-Travel, will handle the planning so you can focus on the memories. They offer free vacation planning services and have nearly 20 years of experience creating memorable vacations. Visit mainstmagic.com/travel for a fee-free, no-obligation quote today.
Well, I am excited about today's episode because it has been a year almost since we had the kids, I feel like.
Yeah, it's been over a year. Yeah, we took took Lacey and Kaylin the day after Thanksgiving last year in 2023.
Okay.
So that was the last time either one of them was in a park. And this weekend, now, a year and just 2 weeks later, we took Lacey. Why?
Yes.
Why did we take her?
Well, because we were going to go see our last Candlelight Processional and see Mr. Ralph Macchio, the Karate Kid himself. And when we mentioned that, she was like, I want to go. And I'm like, okay. And I'm thinking, as a teenager, 14, I'm like, meh, let me see if she really wants to go. So I looked at her and I said, you can't take anybody. And she said, I don't care. And I'm like, oh, crap. She really wants to go.
This is serious.
Yeah. So we made a plan.
Yeah. And the reason she wants to go so bad, so Lacey is a big Karate Kid, Cobra Kai fan. She has watched Karate Kid. She's a big Ralph Macchio fan. For all of the people that are our age who grew up maybe having a crush or whatever on Ralph Macchio, oddly enough, those same aged girls and boys and whoever, I'm sure, still have crushes on Ralph Macchio, even though he's much, much older. Mm-hmm. So Lacey and her friends all think he is attractive. They enjoy the show, and she really wanted to go see him. So we thought, all right. I grew up on Karate Kid. Mm-hmm. I mean, honestly, we watched Karate Kid, and I got into karate, and I did karate for several years.
Oh.
My brother did. He ended up being a black belt.
Wow.
I mean, we
Sounds about right.
We did competitions and stuff, even like all kinds of things. Like, didn't know that, did you? With the size. They look like little teeny hand sickles. I did those. I did competitions with those. Yeah.
I remember you being in karate. I've seen some adorable pictures of you.
I was cute.
You really were. But I don't remember asking you about it when you were young.
I made it to blue belt. And
I was a swimmer.
Was done, yeah. Right. Yeah.
And so you were a karate guy.
I was a karate. Well, I was many things. One of those was a karate guy. But obviously that didn't last too long because I no longer practice it. But so we really did want to take her. So we were like, all right, let's figure out what we need. Ron and I were already heading down Saturday. We're going to stay at All Star Sports. We were just going to go down for the day and night. We had a La Creperie actually dining package for the two of us for the 8:15 show. So like, all right, now we got to get Lacey involved. So of course we talked to our wonderful travel advisor Amy with MEI-Travel.
Yes.
And we said we need to add a night on Friday. Help us out here. So she does her magic and all, and ended up, so we had for Saturday night, I believe we had a preferred room, and this might be backwards, but we had a preferred room, just say for Saturday night. For Friday night, the only available room at Sports was a standard. And it may have been the other way around. But anyway, so she booked that for us, and we literally had 2 reservations for the 2 nights of 2 different categories.
Yes.
And we thought, all right, when we get there, we'll just chat with someone and we'll say, is there any way we can merge these, even if we have to take the lower room?
Right.
Like the money spent, we don't care if there's a price. Just can we don't want to move rooms, right?
Correct.
So we figured we'll show up, we'll do that. And before we even got a chance to get there, again, Amy, our wonderful travel advisor, messaged me and said, no need to worry about talking to anyone when you get there. I have combined your reservations. You will stay in the same room. And I actually saved you $23. It will go back on your card that you use this room with. And we're like, that's awesome. So again,
that right there is a number one reason, and it didn't cost us
I was going
to
to say, how much did that cost us?
Nothing.
Absolutely nothing.
Absolutely nothing. This is number one reason why I say to use a travel agent all the time. I've been talking so much more to my clients because people are traveling, and not just to Disney World. You can go anywhere in the world.
Yeah.
Like,
and all of it is at no cost to you. And the thing is, we'll get on. This isn't a complete MEI commercial. It should be, but it's easy to say that it costs you nothing to use MEI-Travel. It will cost you if you don't.
Oh, 100%.
Whether that's time, whether that's money, whether that's stress, aggravation, whatever it may be, it will 100% cost you if you don't use a travel advisor.
And then here we were. We weren't stressed. We didn't have to go straight to the hotel, which was fantastic. We got to check in online. And we got $23 back, which was the food that we ate upon arrival. So let's talk about arrival to All Star Sports. We ended up, we have a parked hopper ticket for Lacey for Saturday the 14th, which is the night that Ralph Macchio is going to be there. Right.
And we'll get into a little bit. We did go ahead and get Lightning Lane multi-pass and some single passes, and we'll talk about that in a bit. But Friday, when we were going down, it was like, all right, what are we going to do? We can hang around the resort a little bit. We can go to Disney Springs. We can shop. We can have dinner there. Lacey had a couple requests for her first time back in a year.
She did.
One of those was chicken tenders, Disney chicken tenders,
yep.
right? So we went ahead to All Star Sports. We got her some chicken tenders and fries. We got some onion rings.
Mm-hmm.
I got my peanut butter and jelly croissant.
You did.
Which you actually don't hate, huh?
Okay, so it's a very whipped sweet peanut butter that does not taste like a peanut butter. And then the frosting on the croissant is like it was a jelly soft and then it hardened. So you get like it's almost it's sweet and candy like to me. Like it's
the filling, like you said, the peanut butter filling that's whipped to me is much more like something you'd get in a peanut butter pie.
Yes.
So it's not like this is a croissant that they cut open, they just jam a bunch of regular peanut butter in,
right,
and then just squirt strawberry jelly on top or whatever. It is a very well crafted thing.
Yes,
Lacey loved it.
She did.
We actually got another one this morning.
Yes.
She had a couple bites, and then we ended up bringing the rest home.
Yep.
I will be eating some of that after we finish recording.
Okay.
And so the big thing we want to talk about though is now at Disney at All Star Sports. On one checkout area, there are now 2 new systems.
Yes, there are.
What are those systems powered by, Rhonda?
AI.
They are.
Yep.
So Disney is testing out artificial intelligence checkout systems. These are the only 2 and the only station currently on property. This rolled out like a week or 2 ago. So it's perfect. We were coming here. We thought we're going to use this sucker. It is this Auto Canteen, I guess I don't know if that's the company or the system, but that's what it's called. And Disney's testing this to look at rolling out to additional locations to help with accuracy of your orders, with speed of checkout, with ease of use, all that kind of stuff. They're nowhere near there yet. We used it twice this weekend.
We did.
The first time, there were some issues. The second time was very smooth.
It was, but let's go back and say there is a cast member standing right there.
And there always will have to be.
And and they were helping. And then like when you get because you can get some of these pastries by yourself, the croissant paper the AI was reading like a drink, I think, or a coffee, something weird. So she kind of had to move them around and fix it where, and then it read it correctly.
Yeah.
and then you were able to move on and pay and everything.
So here's where we're, and again, this isn't testing. So even if AI learns, the more you use it, the more it learns.
Oh, that's so
you can
weird.
literally teach AI,
like,
right, to learn more about you or your
brain.
things. So what this is doing is it is taking, obviously they've done a bunch of stuff where they've taken photographs of food and they've inputted it into a system and they've marked it and they've set prices, all of this. But now the camera is really training and the system to truly determine those foods, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it needs, every time it's taking a photo, it's logging that data and it's putting it into its system and it's learning, all right? And, to the fact you have to think of, okay, it takes a picture of a croissant at this angle. It has to know that that's the same croissant if it's turned 45 degrees one way. You know what I mean? Or whatever it may be.
Right.
You do currently, maybe this changes as the system learns, you have to space your food out.
Yeah.
Right? So on a tray, they are literally like, all right, put something in each corner pretty much. It's labeled. So, if you had a drink, maybe put that in the top left corner. If you had a croissant, put that in the top right corner. You had some tots on the side, put that in the bottom left, and then you got a hot dog, I don't know, whatever. Put that on the bottom right. You'd have a very weird collection of food. But if those are all squished together, it's not going to determine as well. So as Ron is saying, as we set them down, not only was that little piece of wax paper, I think, was folded over a little part of the croissant, it couldn't recognize it. So the cast member had to come. It read the things wrong. It showed the prices. The person had to come. They had to say, nope, not that one, not that one. Let me move stuff. Let's redo it. That's not how it's going to be every time.
Right.
When we checked out this morning, we set it down with 3 items. It took the photo. It automatically recognized them. We Apple paid and we're out.
Yep.
Very, very quick.
It was.
Now, moving in the future, there's going to always have to be at least one cast member, I would say, for every station, which is powered by 2 sides and 2 AIs, right?
Right.
So you're still going to have cast members. So what might happen is you might eliminate one cast member from each of those, right? So there's some things there, and you're using this AI system. But what you're truly losing is interactions with humans.
Yeah. Oh, of course.
And as much as I really like AI, I utilize it every day now.
Yeah.
I'm using it for work. It is saving me time. It has been incredible. It's one of those things that the reason it will be the death of us is because people just think, well, now we got to use it for everything. And you don't.
Right.
Now, I love the idea, and maybe this is what they go with, of having an AI station at every place as a choice. Because now it's basically self-checkout.
Right.
If you go up to Publix, it's self-checkout, but there's always a Publix person who has to stand there, monitor those machines for issues, help, whatever.
Right.
That's always going to happen. But you have the option to go in a regular checkout and do that. As long as Disney keeps it that way, I think this is going to be a great tool.
Right.
If they start replacing all the stations where basically instead of having a potential of 4 stations with maybe 8 cast members,
right,
you now have 2 cast members, monitoring all these AIs, you're going to lose out, because I went the next morning and got some stuff to bring back to the room, and I checked out with a vet, a human, and we had a wonderful interaction.
Nice.
I was not in a hurry. She was not in a hurry. There was nobody behind me at the time, and it was awesome.
That's awesome.
I don't want to ever lose that.
Right.
If that's all AI, then that's gone. Now,
Right.
if we were in a rush and I was like, I just want to get my food and get out of here, I don't really want to have a conversation with the nice cast member.
Right.
Then okay, this is going to work.
Yeah.
And it's going to work a lot better than a self-checkout. So we'll see the future. I mean, I think it's very cool. And I can see this being utilized in a lot of other places and locations. But if what happens to this is what happens to the character meet and greets that got photo boxes, then that's going to stink, because those photo boxes are awful. You're missing the human element. And those photo boxes still have to be managed and maintained by a cast member who's standing there.
Right.
Why not just have that person take the photo?
I don't know.
So we'll see where it goes.
Yeah.
But I think it's neat, though, to see places that are testing it, which I do think is for good. Mm-hmm. You just got to be careful. That's all. So we'll see how that goes.
Yeah.
But we did decide to go ahead after that to Disney Springs because we're going to do a little bit more shopping. You want to cover any shopping at Disney Springs or
Lacey
anything
was
we
cute.
learned?
She had some money and she wanted to go shopping, which was funny because I'm not sure she spent any of her own.
She didn't spend a dime of her own money.
We just did because it was just so great to have her, and she was very acting sweet and nice, and it was fun.
I'll say this: as Lacey gets older, where she's maturing and developing her personality and all. And it's very different than the one that she had a couple years ago.
Yeah.
And so we butt heads a lot with her, we'll say.
Both of us.
Both of us. Very much so.
But we're learning.
We are learning. And we felt this weekend was so important to go and have just quality time with just her.
Yeah.
And to, almost as weird as it sounds, get to know her. You know what I mean? Because we barely see her. She's with friends all the time.
Right.
She's in a room. Again, she's a teenager. That's what they do. So to get to have this time to spend with her and kind of almost like, I think, reconnect our relationship with our own daughter has been awesome. And I being sober now for me, as I relearn how to be in situations in my relationships with people, because now I'm not self-medicated all the time. Right. To say, all right, well, here's how I used to deal with Lacey, which wasn't great. Now I'm able to step back so much better and look and go, okay, this is what we're dealing with. And what I have found is that Lacey is so much like me, so much. So a lot of the traits that Lacey acquired from me are the ones that most likely annoy other people about me because they annoy me about Lacey. And that's what's so funny is this whole weekend, I was able to just slow down and process everything and go, that's exactly what I would have said. So therefore, how would I want someone to respond to me?
Right.
And so anything this weekend where, the stubbornness and the I want it that way kind of thing, like, I mean, you could nickname both of us Burger King, right? But it just made me available to go, all right, now I know how to react and let me put her above me.
Yeah.
Now. So I can say, all right, I know we both want the same thing because we're the exact same person, basically. But I'm just going to give in what she wants. Like, this is Lacey's weekend, and it went beautifully.
It really did. And, I mean, let's be honest. She didn't spend a dime, but we are just 9 days or we're
10 days from Christmas
under
at the time of this recording.
Okay, then we are under. We are
when
under,
this comes out, it's a week from Christmas.
Yes, it is under the double digit. We are in single digits, y'all. So, a few things she wanted. It wasn't bad. I'm like, we can put them in, for Christmas.
Yep.
But and then it was really cool because we did go to Lulu because Lulu does sell the Disney stuff at the store.
Yeah.
And even though I did get it from Epcot, my Disney Lulu bag, the back says Disney and a Lulu, and it was starting to come off. Mm-hmm. And they exchanged it for nothing.
That was extremely impressive.
It was, and I've heard this.
Yeah.
So we also did a little more Christmas shopping there, and each got some pants.
I will. Christmas Day, I will own Lululemon sweatpants.
Yep.
Disney Lululemon sweatpants.
And I've heard that if something happened, like you just wash them, and if something happens, that you can take them back and they will give you brand new ones.
Yeah,
so.
super impressive. But it was just great to walk around.
They should be for the price.
Yeah. Oh, 100%. I mean, it's the same thing. Like when, we were talking about Victoria and Albert's, and I just had to throw that out there. But we're talking about Victoria and Albert's, and when you're like, well, I understand that it's the best thing we've ever had. It should be for the price. And it's kind of like that. I mean, the Lululemon, you're like, I better be getting the best quality product, and it better have like the best service you've ever imagined. And I was super impressed.
Yeah.
Because you didn't have a receipt.
No.
You didn't really have a tracking system.
Right. Because I bought it at Epcot.
Right. And it was just, I don't know, I was super impressed. So, but we ended up meeting up with our good friend Steve, who was going to come out, and we were shopping, we were hanging out, and then we kind of just decided for dinner. Lacey didn't really know what she wanted. She had chicken tenders and fries and all for lunch. So we hadn't been to D-Luxe Burger since Pitch Perfect 3 came out. When did I realize that was?
I think
2017?
You said 2017.
Yeah. So we hadn't been there in 7 years.
That's a long
So 2017, Pitch Perfect came out, and Rhonda and I did a day trip to Disney Springs.
Yep.
We had lunch at D-Luxe Burger.
Yep.
We saw Pitch Perfect 3 at the AMC there. We renewed our annual passes, and we came home.
Yep.
So that was the last time we ate there. So let's talk about D-Luxe, Rhonda.
Yeah.
What do you think? And talk all about D-Luxe.
Yeah. So It is obviously at Disney Springs. It is open 11 a.m. to 10:30 p.m. and it's basically near, what would that be called? The
guest
Welcome
services center.
Like,
the welcome and guest services center right there in the heart of, I can never remember this is considered
town
center, I
town
believe.
center. Yeah. I'm like, what is
so it's right
yeah.
there. It's near Blaze Pizza.
Yeah.
If you know where that is. So yeah, that's where it's located.
Yep.
And this is a quick service restaurant.
Yes, it is.
It does take some dining plans. It will do the quick service dining plan.
Okay.
And it is burgers, fries,
There, I did see some chicken.
some chicken sandwich maybe on there, and that's pretty much it.
Yeah, because I asked Lacey if she wanted anything, and she just wanted a soda. But it's nice because they sell burgers, and then so the burgers are the price, and then they sell the French fries.
Yeah.
And it's a half or it's a full, and the full is $7.99, and I don't remember the half, but we were getting the full, so I remember that price. But I got they had on and Jeremy told me on the menu that this comes back every year. And it's every around Christmas time, which is a beef Wellington burger. So this is 2 pressed signature blend patties, crispy prosciutto, mushroom
Duxelle.
Gruyere.
Mushroom Duxelle is what is in beef Wellington. It's like that cooked down mixture of like real fine chopped up mushrooms, and it cooks out. It makes like a paste, and that's normally. With the beef Wellington, you take your puff pastry, you would rub this mushroom Duxelle all over in it. Prosciutto, wrap it around the tenderloin and bake it off. Why were you even more interested, I feel like, though, in beef Wellington right now?
Well, because we were going to our normal Thursday Costco run, and Jeremy was like, what do we need to eat? And I'm like, and I started naming off all these things. And then it was funny because he was like, I thought you were just naming stuff. And I'm like, no, what do you want? What sounds good? So we passed this thing in the freezer that said Chef Gordon Ramsay's beef Wellington bites.
Yeah.
And I was like, I think I just kind of wanted, I don't know why, I was kind of in the mood for some type of pastry, because we also passed the pigs in a blanket in a pastry instead of, so I was kind of wanting that. And we got that, and we ate it that night before we had to do the live.
Yeah.
And it was
so good.
Really good.
Yeah. So Costco, Gordon Ramsay's there, and these would be great. Now they're small bites. They're more like an appetizer or party thing. We ate them as a meal. We had like 2 each. But if you go to if you got a Christmas party still coming up, or like even Christmas Eve, like I could imagine breaking these suckers out for either a little appetizer, your party, whatever. Mm-hmm. They were super good.
They were.
So then I was like, well, you know what? They have a beef Wellington burger at D-Luxe that comes out every year. So that's when Ron was like, I got to try it then.
Yes. And so this is in the horseradish aioli, all on a herbed puff pastry bun for $14.99.
And remember, that is just burger. That is not fries.
Right.
This is like
$14.99
a fancy steakhouse for burgers.
Yes.
You just get the burger. You don't get the sides the way that you would just get a steak. You got to pay extra for that mashed potato or whatever it may be, right?
Right. Which, I mean, yeah, it's, it is what it is.
But also for $7.99 for that full, we served 4 people
pretty much
fries.
Pretty much.
And their fries are the only thing I can compare them to.
Really good.
If you have ever been to Ocean City, Maryland, Thrasher Fries on the boardwalk there, they are hand cut fries. They have the skin on. They're very rustic. They're usually fried in peanut oil, and they're really good with malt vinegar. So almost like not necessarily your chip that you would get overseas, but just a nice hand cut skin on fry. They reminded me exactly of Thrasher's fries.
Nice.
So I loved them.
Yeah.
Absolutely loved them.
Yeah, they were
All
good.
they needed was a little bit of Old Bay. I'd bring my own in my pocket next time.
Okay.
So what'd you think of the burger?
So, I'm that 2-bite girl, I feel like. So when I first took a bite, it looked good. It looked it was the bun, like pastry bun was weird looking, but basically by the time I got into the 3rd bite and realized that, and even Steve said that they used to cook every burger to order.
Mm-hmm. And it was a single patty.
And it was a single
patty. It was a nice single, like probably 3rd pound burger. And now they've gone to these double press.
Once COVID hit, they decided, I guess, not to cook to order because of trying to get them in and the distance and everything. So I guess this is when they went to the 2 pressed blend patties.
Yeah, I mean, it's a smash burger, basically.
Right.
So all of them are cooked exactly the same. They're technically well done, but they're smash burgers on a griddle and doubled up. And that's how all of their burgers come now, as opposed to that single, traditional patty, again, cooked to order. So.
Right. But it was really good once I had a few bites and had to think of, the situation. And, the burger still was moist. It was still good. I was like, okay. I had to, really think about it and go, basically, this is a fast food burger. And I was like, this is really good.
Yeah.
And, I got into 2 or 3 bites and then I was like, you know what? I really do like this.
Yeah.
This is really good. And then Lacey ate some of it and really liked it.
She ended up eating more.
She did. So, yes, this was good. I would totally get this again.
Okay. Yeah, I went with the barbecued burger. This is 2 pressed signature blend patties topped with a fried onion ring, Munster cheese, bacon, lettuce, and barbecue sauce for $13.49. Yeah, I really like it, actually. I think this is now I can compare this much more to Steakhouse 71's burger because they are both smash burgers.
Okay.
I would call this basically, it's not a fast food burger.
Okay.
It is around a fast casual burger like a Five Guys. I just think it's elevated. If I ate this exact same concoction at Five Guys, it's going to be delicious.
Okay.
But within 30 minutes, I'm going to probably be like, oh, dear God, that was a lot. Because they're greasier, they're whatever.
Yeah.
This, to me, you always like to say things are clean. And this is a cleaner like Five Guys.
Right.
It's not all loaded with grease. And,
right.
And, it comes in the little wax paper, with the top of the burger hanging out. Like, you could just walk around Disney Springs eating it out of there. Like, it's actually really, really good. But you need to want a smash burger.
Yes.
If you're like, man, I just want a good bacon cheeseburger cooked medium rare, go to STK. There's lots of other places to go. This is not the place.
Right.
If you're like, I just want a good just smash burger, whatever kind of burger, just something that's going to fill me up. It's going to be delicious. I can have it any way I want it. This is the place to go. And not only, do they have these concocted with, the different things like Rhonda's with the horseradish aioli, and they've got on mine the barbecue sauce. They thankfully survived COVID. I don't know when it came back after that.
Right.
They have these setups of not only ketchup and mustard, and I think they had mayo and stuff like that. They have another section that has a garlic ranch, a truffle aioli, this barbecue sauce. They've got a 1921 sauce, which is a bunch of disgusting sauces all mixed together. I think Steve asked. It was like mayo, mustard,
and
ketchup. It's basically Thousand Island.
Correct.
Right? They have to make it fancy, just so you know. There was the barbecue sauce in there. There was a buffalo ranch that those fries were so good in. And they're just open. They're actually maintained and plugged in at a 45 degree to keep those sauces at the temperature they want them to be.
That's awesome.
And they've got the little paper cups, and you just fill as many as you want. And so that part I thought was awesome.
Yep.
You can get fountain beverages. They've got fountain machines, indoor seating, outdoor seating. It's got a nice wood, rustic kind of interior to it. This is going to probably be one of those places where we're just messing around Disney Springs and don't know what to eat. I can imagine popping in here.
I agree.
Right?
100%.
So good job, D-Luxe, I think.
Good job.
Even though, and as we sat there, as we sat there and we're having the conversation with Steve and all, because Steve was right where he was like, I'm kind of eating a fast food Five Guys burger. And he's not wrong. Like, when I was thinking, let's go there, I didn't have anything in my mind. I wasn't even like, well, I want a bacon cheeseburger and I want it medium rare and I want whatever. I was just thinking, I just kind of want a burger.
Yeah.
And I wasn't even thinking about burger as much as I was thinking, here's a place we haven't been in a long time.
Right.
We're trying to do these things that we haven't done in a while.
Right.
Let's go do it. And so I think maybe Steve had a little more in his mind, like, well, I want that burger that has this, this, and this. But we all, in the end, really enjoyed it and would highly recommend. Right?
Yep.
All right. We wanted some dessert. We did not get any from D-Luxe Burger, so we decided to stop at Emirates Patisserie over there by World of Disney.
Yes, and don't be scared, y'all. We didn't go to Salt and Straw, but
No.
Lacey didn't want to.
And this was all about her.
This was all about her. We were even thinking of Ghirardelli, and she was like, "Yeah, I could do some Ghirardelli." But then I was like, "Oh, the patisserie," and I was like, "There'll be so many in there you can get." So she was like,
Boy, did we.
"Okay, yes, we did." So the patisserie opens at 11 a.m. It closes at 11 p.m. Steve did get the Petite Goofy Dome. This is a milk chocolate mousse peanut butter filling with vanilla chiffon for $10. Super cute. They have a Goofy. They have a Pluto.
Mm-hmm.
They had a Pluto. Pluto's his favorite, but unfortunately he does not like bananas.
Yeah.
And they had a banana
I would like to get the Pluto next time we go.
Because I like
banana. Love banana. Yeah. They've got Mickey. They've got Minnie. I mean, they've got all these different, and they're little. I'm sure you've seen them if you're into Disney, probably. They're beautiful little dome cakes. They're decorated with fondant with the character colors, and they're awesome. And I had a bite of this. It is super light. It does have, and this was kind of Lacey's issue with mine, because we really are almost the same person. It's quite frustrating sometimes. So it's really got to be hard for you. The texture is soft. It's all very soft.
That's right. She did taste it, and she was like and I was like, oh my gosh.
And again, her and I both, with something like that, we like some crunch and some contrast. So I think if maybe the bottom had been like a crunchy, almost like shell or something, that would have been really good. But overall, I did enjoy it. It's a good portion. It's a good size. It's very, very shareable.
Yeah.
What all did we get?
So we got... she wanted some macaroons, but you can choose from pistachio, espresso, caramel, sea salt, chocolate, or passion fruit. But they had a box that had every single one in these. And she really wanted them. And I'm like, you know what? Go ahead. So we got those. We got the Christmas Snickerdoodle Cookie Croissant. This is a croissant dough Snickerdoodle cookie and holiday sprinkle for $8.25. We also got a winter macaroon sandwich. It's a macaroon, almond cheesecake, and cranberry cherry jam for $7.50. And then we got a peppermint swirl cheesecake. This is peppermint cheesecake, dark chocolate mousse, chocolate cookie crust, white chocolate peppermint coating with crushed peppermint pieces for $5.
We'll get to that in a minute. Would you want to start with each thing, the macaroons?
So yeah, she liked all the macaroons except the espresso one,
which is understandable because she does not like coffee flavors.
But she then took a bite, correct?
Yep.
I took a bite,
yep.
And then Steve took a bite.
Yep.
And it just, to me, tasted like there were grounds in this, like almost like not burnt, but overcooked grounds.
Maybe a little bit. It was
something like
the
it
flavor.
Was not good.
If the flavor was so strong of the espresso, it just was way too much. Now, I think if you like coffee and you like espresso, you would probably love this. I think
I like coffee. I like black coffee.
That's true. You do. This was just too much.
And it was just too much.
So, but the rest of them were great. Her favorite was the passion fruit.
Okay.
And yeah, they're a perfect little takeaway, especially because they come in that little gift box. Yeah. Even Steve thought, and he drinks black coffee as well, and he thought it was too much. Yep. So that's at least 4 people and 2 people that drink black coffee that thought it was a bit much. What did you think of the Christmas Snickerdoodle Cookie Croissant? What does it look like? Because this is
a croissant with cookie dough on top.
A round croissant.
Yes.
Like bun.
That's
almost.
True.
Yeah.
Yep. I thought, and it was warm. I guess they warmed it up for a few seconds because it wasn't hot, but it was just slightly warm. It was weird, but I really liked it. I liked all the flavors together.
I did too.
I really did.
It was light. The croissant was really good. The Snickerdoodle topping was good.
So good.
The only thing I wish, because I just think it would be easier to eat, is that instead of having that Snickerdoodle stuff on top, which I understand looks really good, I wish it was just shoved inside so that it was like a filled croissant instead. Because
I thought there was something in it too, but I don't know.
It was very light.
It was so
whatever
good,
there was in there, but I loved all the flavors.
Yeah.
I thought it was great. How about the winter macaroon sandwich? This is a macaroon 4 or 5 inches across, you think?
Yeah, it's a pretty
good size. Yeah.
So this is the next 2 are basically my favorites. I can't even tell you what I would pick if I had to go back if I had to pick one,
Mm-hmm.
I'd be like, can I just have both?
You pick the winter macaroon. I'll pick the peppermint cheesecake, and then we still get both.
Perfect. But yeah, this winter macaroon, holy moly, it was beautiful. It was blue. And then the cheesecake was white, of course, but then the cranberry cherry jam was on the inside of that. So you couldn't see it until you like got in halfway into it. This whole thing was fantastic. I really, really, really liked it. And wouldn't mind, if we do go, I wouldn't mind getting these again.
We'll be there Thursday, so maybe we will get one.
Yeah, maybe we will.
Yeah, what I liked about this is, as Ron was saying, the center of it is where the cranberry cherry jam is, but surrounding that is the almond cheesecake and these little like globs, circular globs. So it's really pretty.
Yeah.
But it's neat because you first bite into it and you get a macaroon with almond cheesecake.
Yeah.
And it's really good.
Yeah.
And then you bite a little bit further and you get a macaroon with almond cheesecake and cranberry cherry jam.
Yeah.
Then, as you get to just the center, it's a macaroon with cranberry cherry jam. All three of those are delicious. So it's neat. Like, it's almost like three desserts in one.
Yeah.
And then this peppermint swirl cheesecake I thought was amazing. And something that was neat that confused me at first is it's a little circular cheesecake.
Yep.
Coating the entire cheesecake was a very thin layer of white peppermint chocolate. So it actually had a little like crust to the outside. You know what I mean? You had to break through.
Right.
And so you had a little bit, again, talk about texture. You had a little bit of the chocolate texture on the outside with the contrast of that super like soft cheesecakey filling that had tons of peppermint flavor. Had the chocolate mousse was on top, right?
Yeah,
with
it had like a little, like it looked like a little wrapped piece of candy.
Yeah.
It was super cool.
Yeah, that's right. It had the two little
sides were
almost
weird.
like gummy
They were
chocolates on the
weird.
side I loved this thing.
Yeah, it was so good.
And what's great, all of these are very transportable and good to go. They have these wonderful
100%.
cardboard boxes that they'll put them in. They give you a nice, big, wide-bottomed paper bag that you can carry around. I love the wide bottom because you don't have to stack stuff if you don't want to. You could fit 4 to 6 of their desserts, I think, just on the bottom of that bag, I feel like.
4.
So I really love this place. It's a place we stop in a lot. Hasn't been much here other than that espresso macaroon. Yeah. Anytime we stop in here that we haven't really loved. So highly recommend. All right, we're going to move on to Saturday.
Yeah, because then after that, we went back to, we were going to probably rope drop. So, and Jeremy was getting up before 7 to get a Cosmic. So, yeah, we went back to the room, watched some shows, and snuggled in and went to bed.
We sure did. I got up early the next morning, much earlier than I would like to, but at my normal 6:55, I'm checking my Disney experience. I'm getting things ready to try and snag a virtual queue. So here's the plan that I thought about, and I worked with our good friend Rachel on a lot of this because she just used Lightning Lanes, just a week prior with her and her mom for their yearly trip, and we don't use Lightning Lane much. We don't need to. We needed to here to make sure that Lacey could do all the things that she wanted to do. So after talking with Rachel, I was like, all right, we know she wants to ride Cosmic again, which she has rode before. She wants to ride Tron, which she has never got the opportunity to ride. I'm like, all right, what's the best way to do both of these? I kind of selfishly was like, I want her to ride Tiana's.
Yeah.
Right? So how are we going to do that? And then what else can I kind of work out? What's the best method? I said, would I rather try and get a Tiana's virtual queue, buy a Tron, buy a Cosmic, single pass each, right? Okay, we're guaranteed those 3 rides. That's pretty good. What happens if I don't get Tiana's that morning? I'm happy to brag and say my percentage rate is like 99.9.
Right.
What if there's a glitch? Whatever. If I don't get it, we miss out. I might have to scramble, try and buy a multi-pass last minute. It's probably not going to be available, all that stuff. So I said, all right, here's what we're going to do. We're going to make our park reservation for Epcot. Therefore, when we wake up, I can get a virtual queue for Cosmic Rewind.
Right.
I'm going to purchase Lightning Lane multi-pass for Magic Kingdom. And when I go to book those, I'm going to book them more of late morning to early afternoon after I know we've done our virtual queue at Cosmic, hopefully, and we're ready to head over there. Don't want to do standby for Tron, so I'm going to go ahead and purchase a single pass at the same time.
Okay.
I was telling Rachel that, and Rachel was like, I'd go ahead and buy the Cosmic single pass as well for that same reason. What happens if you wake up that morning and there's a glitch and you don't get the virtual queue? you might not get Cosmic. Single pass could be out by then. You can't guarantee a 1 p.m. virtual queue drop. So on that
we
day,
had a lot going on.
Yeah, 7 days prior, I bought single passes for both Cosmic and Tron. And then I booked my first 3 multi-passes at Magic Kingdom. I know Magic Kingdom is the most expensive, but it is the absolute best value, right?
Okay.
I just didn't find it was not going to be worth for me to start at Epcot with the multi-pass. Book rides at Epcot, go do the virtual queue at Epcot, all of this stuff. By the time I would want to book additional rides at Magic Kingdom, because I knew we were going to hop there,
It'd be too late.
it's going to be too late. We were not, and we had a sweet spot. We needed these between about noon and 3. Right? Because we needed to get back, we needed to do dinner, and we needed to go ahead and see Ralph Macchio at 8:15.
Right.
So on that 7 days before at 7 a.m., I went in and I seamlessly, I will say, and I hate a lot of the things I'm about to say about Lightning Lane because they're all pretty positive. And I hate to say it because, yes, it costs money. It's no longer free the way that we used to have FastPass Plus.
Right.
Both Rhonda and I agree that we hate the fact that there is no FastPass Plus.
Mm-hmm.
We both hate that people have to pay extra money every day for something they used to get for free. Don't like any of it. But it's here. It's here to stay. You got to get used to it. It's really, really easy to book those first 7 days.
Mm-hmm.
First of all, the system already knew that we had a park reservation for Epcot.
Mm-hmm.
So it didn't even recommend rides for the multi-pass at the opening of Magic Kingdom. Because in the system's already going, well, they're not going to be there yet. So the first ones it gave me are pretty much what I took. So I ended up single pass. I booked Cosmic Rewind from 9:30 to 10:30 a.m.
Okay.
I then went in. I booked Pirates of the Caribbean for 12:35 to 1:35. Well, this is what we ended up with. These were slightly different, and I did make modifications.
Okay.
But waking up that morning is what we had. Haunted Mansion 1:15 to 2:15. Tiana's 1:55 to 2:55, and then Tron from 2:05 to 3:05.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So basically, what they had given me was about 12:30 to 1:30, 1:30 to 2:30, 2:30 to 3:30, 3:30 to 4:30 is the way that they stacked all 4 of these. So I took them, and then I was able to modify either right then or as it led up, bump up a little bit, move some things around, and this is what I ended up with. It's about the most perfect thing ever. I mean, honestly. So I got Cosmic Rewind that morning at Virtual Queue as well, and I got group number 3.
Yes.
So by the time we showed up to Epcot, slightly after regular park opening at 9, our virtual queue had already been called, so we went and rewrote it. Mm-hmm. We hopped off of it. We got right back into the single pass line, and we wrote it again.
Mm-hmm.
From there, we were able to pretty much hop over to Magic Kingdom, do our Pirates, do our Haunted, do our Tianas, do our Tron, and get out of there.
Mm-hmm.
All of those with very, very minimal wait.
Mm-hmm.
And we killed time between a few of them. Like we stopped at Golden Oak Outpost and got some beignets and a drink.
Yes.
We'd maybe stop at some shops. Like we were able to take our time slightly, but we never had to wait for our next start time for a Lightning Lane at all.
That's true.
And that's what's great because you can't overlap them. Again, when we have a 12:35 to 1:35 and then a 1:15 to 2:15, you've got those 2 rides between 12:35 and 2:15.
And let's go ahead and say now that we're over here, when we were on Pirates, it was about to be 1 o'clock.
Mm-hmm.
And I shockingly got a Tiana's virtual queue drop at 1 p.m.
Yep.
And we were going to be group 89.
Yeah. It got called, I think it was like 6 or 7 p.m. Now, we weren't there anymore.
Right.
And we're going to talk about what we could have done.
Yes,
right?
we are.
So, Rhonda was doing that, but as soon as I traded in for Pirates, once I had to connect, and this is one thing you do want to plan. For things like that 1 p.m. drop that Rhonda was talking about, be careful of where you are.
Yeah,
if you're inside of Pirates,
you
have no connection down there, right? The Disney Wi-Fi is spotty. It'll say you connect, but it's not doing anything. Mm-hmm. Most likely you're not getting cell service.
Right.
And there's several areas like this throughout Disney. So, while you can scan into somewhere like Pirates and immediately book your next Lightning Lane multi-pass, you might not be able to. Mm-hmm. So what you might want to do is scan in, pause. If a couple people have to go past you, if you're that worried about booking it,
right,
knowing that you're not going to get off this ride for 30 minutes, go ahead and book it there, then go into the indoor queue and all. Just something to like take note of. But I traded that then for a Spaceship Earth back at Epcot around 4:40 because I knew we'd be heading back over.
And she wanted to ride that.
Right, and she wanted to ride that.
Correct.
We had also during that week, with both the help of Mouse Dining, which you can go to, of course, msmfriends.com and use their free service. They do have alerts for things like Candlelight Processional dining packages. You can go ahead and set those alerts. I had alerts for the week. We were trying to switch something out. First of all, we needed 3 people. And the creperie we didn't want to do the creperie.
Yeah.
So we really wanted to get dinner for the 8:15 show. So all week I was looking, I was modifying, and I will, if you are worried about not having a dining package for something like this, keep checking, even the morning of.
Yes, because then we asked Lacey where she wanted to eat because there was only 2 of us, and we could either add or we could go somewhere else. Well, she wanted some fish and chips anyway. She was very excited to go get them from either like Rose and Crown or the Yorkshire.
Yeah.
So then we kept looking, and we were thinking, could we try to do some what's going to come up? Garden Grill? Like, is there going to be, Lanopoly?
La Nopalera is a great Mexican place around here.
No, Via Napoli. Yep. And we were just trying to and trying to ask her, what do you want?
Yeah.
Coral Reef? Like, do you want seafood? She doesn't really. So anyways, we did, thank God, end up with Rose and Crown dining package.
Yeah. At 5:35 for the 8:15 show.
Yes.
But throughout the day,
we kept looking.
Both because we were maybe trying to get like an Italian place or something like that, which ended up we didn't need. And I can go back to the night before real quick. But I was able, though, to look all day long.
Yes.
And there were a ton of options all day long.
Which
From
is really
different
weird.
restaurants, different times, all kinds of stuff.
Was it always the 8:15 show?
No.
Okay.
Sometimes it was 5.
Because
Sometimes
I
it was
started to
6:45.
say-
Sometimes it was 8. Sometimes it was 2 of them. Sometimes it was none of them. But constantly looking throughout the day, if we had nothing, we may not have gotten the exact time or the exact place that we wanted, but we could have gotten something guaranteed. Easy.
And we
So
didn't
just
even
something to
try to
notice.
go walk up to Regal Eagle.
No, we didn't even try the walk up at Regal Eagle, but that's always an option as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, going back to the night before real quick, because Lacey had pasta the night before.
Yes.
So that was the other thing. Now, she probably could have eaten pasta again. Kids can eat pasta all the time.
Right.
Every night. I wish I could. But we went up. She got some meatballs and pasta, which actually were very good.
Yeah, they were.
But I didn't tell you this part. We were coming back, and I needed this. Like, we were coming back, and it was just Lacey and I, and she, this was Friday night, and I had the tray of food. She had the 2 refillable mugs, and she was walking in front of me, and she kind of stopped, and she looked at me, and she was like, did you have a good day today? And I was like, yeah, I really did. I was like, how about you? And she goes, I did. And I was like, that's awesome.
Oh my
and she walked ahead of me a little bit. Dude, it was like out of like a movie or a dream. Like you see, remember in Big at the end when Tom Hanks shrinks back down and she turns around and looks at him and he's a kid again, but he's in the big people's clothing.
Right.
It was almost like I saw a little 7 or 8-year-old Lacey again. It was awesome.
You can
Like,
make me cry.
It was just like, this is like it used to be. And that was the reason we wanted to do the parks like we used to do the parks.
Yep.
So we're kind of calling this like our back to the basics because we went this weekend and we have some insight and we have knowledge
Right.
and we know things like they'll release new dining packages. I can adjust my lightning lane. But if we kind of treated it like 2 people that had used a wonderful travel advisor like Amy from MEI, right? We had done the research that we needed to.
Right.
We had watched some great YouTube videos, from like All Ears or somebody about how to use Lightning Lane. We had the knowledge. We were prepared. And that's the way we did the parks. We didn't do them as Rhonda and Jeremy, host of the Main Street Magic podcast. We didn't do them as we have to eat that because we haven't. We did daughter of ours.
Right.
What do you want to do?
Right.
And if I made a suggestion of something I wanted to do and she said no, then I was like, okay, that's fine. This is about you. And it was awesome.
It really was.
I absolutely loved it. So we're going to move on to a few more things. This got out of place from our notes. one of the other things I wanted to mention, I don't know who else has come into this. I don't know if this is something that's going to roll out, if it's based on cast member. If you've ridden Runaway Railway in the beginning during the film, the cast member has a live interaction with a recorded Goofy on screen, right?
Oh, yeah.
Well, we went like a week ago in Cosmic Rewind, and they had this.
Yes.
So when Tal Merrick is up there, Terry Crews plays him, right? He's up on the screen, and he's, Epcotians, people of Epcot. What are they? Anybody know what they call themselves?
Right.
At this point, the cast member yells, "Hey, Terry, you're on." And he responds, "Oh, I'm on? Somebody has to tell me when I'm on." And there's some back and forth interaction. Well, this time, we wrote it twice back to back. The first time we wrote it, he's saying people of Epcot, Epcotians, what do these people call themselves? The cast member just said, "You're on." He goes, "Oh, somebody should tell me when I'm on." And it just went normal.
Okay.
We wrote it again the second time.
I didn't hear that part.
Nothing.
Right.
I really liked the idea of the interaction the first time. My biggest problem was, why are you calling him Terry?
Right.
The person on screen is not Terry Crews.
Right.
Right? Don't call him Terry. And the cast member said it twice that time.
Yeah, that's true.
And I was like, oh, but I do like, and I think it would be cool if they implemented the, "Hey, you're on."
Right.
Oh, somebody's got to tell me when I'm on. And you go through, I thought that part was cool.
Yeah.
But, anybody else
too.
who's experienced any of it, let me know. Because I'm interested to see if this is something that one or two cast members maybe do for fun.
Right.
Something they're testing to see,
Right.
whatever. The other thing, the past 24 times I bet we've rode this, nobody shouted anything dumb when he says, "What do people call themselves?"
Yeah.
And I appreciate that. So
the one time I think a kid said human.
Yeah, humans. And that's
which
cute
is
when
a
a
child.
kid says
Yeah,
it.
it was cute.
But when everybody else starts yelling out the stuff, and I hated it back when I
Alcoholics
drank.
and-
I
yeah.
hated it when they would yell alcoholics or day drinkers or whatever. It's just annoying.
Okay, why? Because that just, I feel like that's almost like something you would have said because we were always drinking in Disney.
It's just not my shtick. It's not my thing to yell that out in the middle of it when you are filled with a room. Because again, it's one thing to say humans. That involves everyone there.
Right.
And everybody can have a laugh. But when you usually alcoholics or day drinkers or anything else, honestly, I could podcast host.
Yeah.
Okay, that's all about me at that point.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's my thought. You're just being selfish by yelling something that potentially is about a smaller majority of people and not the room that's filled with them. I don't know.
Well, speaking of that is one of the things that I was super loved about this weekend too. That, unfortunately we used to, find a bar, find a place. Oh, we need to stop here. We need to stop there to drink. And, Lacey would get annoyed with it. And it was just amazing to be with her. And we didn't stop once to get.
It was wonderful.
It was.
This was easily. We're gonna finish with some funny candy, Rose and Crown, and then a little bit of Ralph Macchio. You guys know all about the Candlelight Processional, but we'll just say what we thought and play a little clip. But this will go up top core memories. This trip was just 48 hours of perfection.
I saw a couple of people in the parks wearing core memory day, and I saw the first one I saw. I just smiled real big because I was like, oh my God, I feel, ever since now, Inside Out, I think of what is my ball doing? This is going to be sadness and joy because it was sad because she is getting older. And I hope she wants to come with us. She even said something about next year.
She was
and
like, yeah. Well,
but,
he said, even if it's not Ralph Macchio,
do you
want to go next year? And she goes, depending on who it is, but she was like, yeah. Probably.
So it was really cool,
Yeah.
but
it was. We had such an amazing time. During so as we went through an example, road Haunted, we did, and then we rode Tiana's and all over there. I was looking for the next multi-passes to book.
Yeah.
So what I started thinking was Magic Kingdom wasn't open or closed till 11 tonight. It's not a party night or anything. This was a Saturday. I thought we could finish up with Ralph Macchio. We could head back to Magic Kingdom. Rhonda got the Tiana's virtual queue. We could potentially ride Tiana's a second time.
Yep.
I had lined up, and now again, the best stuff is gone, like a Jingle Cruise. Some of those are gone. I kept seeing Pirates and Haunted again for the evening, late evening, but we had already ridden them once, so we couldn't book them again. So I ended up booking Under the Sea for 9:15 to 10:15. I ended up booking Winnie the Pooh, The Great Adventures of Winnie the Pooh, for 10:25 to 11 p.m. And then earlier, because Lacey was talking about Space Mountain, I had snagged that for 8:55 to 9:55.
Mm-hmm.
So we were looking in My Disney Experience while we're still at Epcot, going, we have 4 more booked rides we could go back to Magic Kingdom and do.
Yep.
And if we wanted, after those are done, we could
Stand-
potentially get Standby for Tron right before the park closes.
Right.
Which means in one day, we could have ridden Cosmic Rewind twice,
Yep.
Tiana's twice, and Tron twice. Now, once Ralph was over,
Yes.
we said to Lacey, would you like to go to Magic Kingdom and do these things, or would you rather go back to the hotel and chill? She said hotel.
And then Jeremy and I could have.
And I wanted to. I wanted to go to Magic Kingdom and do this so bad, and I was going to. And after the day that we had, in the evening that we had, when she was like, I want to go back to the hotel, I was like, then I do too, because I don't want this to end.
Oh, yeah.
So we did. But we could have done all of that again.
Yes.
Now, all of this cost us $236 for the day.
Mm-hmm.
But when you look at everything we accomplished and were able to do, and there's a huge gap in there when we sat down for dinner, when we saw Ralph Macchio.
Right.
Hate to say it, but when you need it, Lightning Lane works really, really well.
Right. Yep.
We pretty much walked on to every ride that we did that had Lightning Lane. It saved us so much time.
Yeah, we didn't
Lacey
wait
got to do
hardly at
everything
all.
she
Yeah.
wanted to do. It was just absolutely
And she does
incredible.
like Cosmic over Tron because she
She
did
does.
ride Tron.
Yep.
And I asked her, and she was like, which one do you like better? And she said Cosmic. So with that being said, I'm glad we did get to ride Cosmic twice for her.
I am too. Yeah.
But
All right,
but yeah,
well,
let's talk about
let's
Rose
move
and
on.
Crown.
Yeah, let's move on to Rose and Crown. We got, of course, the Candlelight dining package for this.
Yep.
They have changed the dining packages. It used to be that you got an appetizer, an entree, and a dessert.
Yep.
Plus a non-alcoholic beverage. It is now a entree and a dessert, or of course that full buffet where applicable, like a beer garden and all.
Right.
As well as a non-alcoholic beverage or an alcoholic beverage for guests 21 and up.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a great deal if you drink. This is one now where it hurts us a little bit because we don't get any value out of that. They basically traded the appetizer for the alcohol, which now doesn't do us any good.
Right.
So that kind of stinks, but it's still okay. We did try again, like we did at Chef de France, to do what? We're
so
trying
there's
this,
three.
just-
So there's 3 of us, and there's only 2 different types of dessert.
Mhm.
So we basically were like, can we get 1 appetizer and then only 2 desserts? And she said no.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, we completely understand that.
We thought we'd ask.
so-
you know, I do a couple things because I don't want to forget. Now here, you know, their Scotch egg is like $15.
Right.
Their most expensive dessert was $9.50.
Correct.
It's understandable. That's not an even trade.
100%.
At Chef de France, every single appetizer compared to dessert was within $1 more or less.
Right.
I think that's a pretty fair trade.
I agree.
What I wish is that you somehow could figure out, like, for example, we're not taking advantage of 2 adult alcoholic beverages.
Right.
That's a savings, but we don't get it. Is there any way to, you know, modify where we get an appetizer or something?
Right.
The other issue with a place like Rose and Crown, they have 2 appetizers, only 4 entrees, and only 2 desserts for choose from.
Right.
So at that point, you might as well just make it a prefix meal and just say, here's what you get. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, there's not a lot of options.
Right.
So that part, they still need to do something, I feel like, with this to make you feel like you get your true value. By the time we broke it down, I told Lacey, and this is what I do love about Lacey. She is so inquisitive. She has the most severe FOMO
Yes.
that any human being has ever had, down to the point where if she just overhears you say something and she didn't catch it, she needs to know more. She will turn. What did you say? Oh,
What?
what's that?
Mm-hmm.
If Rhonda even looked at me at one point, or I looked at Rhonda, and was like, oh, I got to text these to John because John Self, I text all my photos of food to.
Right.
She will turn around. Who's John? Oh, well, who's that? Well, what is he like? She wants to know everything.
Yeah.
So that part's really cool. So she's asking. She's like, you know, well, what does this cost? What would it normally cost? We figured guaranteed seats for Ralph Macchio came out to about $20 for each of us extra on top of the regular cost of the meal.
Right.
I think that's well worth it.
I do.
Right?
I agree. 100%.
Now, let's talk about the cost here for the dining package. How much is it for adults?
So it's $66, and she is an adult ever since she is 10 years old, because it's 9 and under, correct?
Yeah.
So, so of course, everybody knows where Rose and Crown is. It is in the United Kingdom Pavilion. $66 for each one of us. This is 4 p.m. to 9 p.m.
Yeah, they're not open for lunch, but you can get some stuff inside. What is it? Do you remember the deal with inside? Because it changes every time. We probably need to ask Holly again. You used to be able to between like 11 and 3, correct? You could get some stuff like fish and chips. They have a sausage roll. There's a couple things you can get.
Yes.
Because the dining room is open just to go sit at your own leisure.
Right.
So you can get drinks at Rose and Crown up till 3. Yep. You can get drinks at Rose and Crown. You can walk and sit. You can go next door and get fish and chips from Yorkshire. You can grab a beer. You can go sit. Right. So we've done that lots of times. So that's the reason it's only dinner 4 to 9.
Right.
All right. Let's just talk about the items we got, because we end up almost eating the whole menu. Scotch egg is on the menu for an appetizer, and a coronation salad. Those are the only 2 things.
Right.
Scotch egg, when we've had it before, it's fine. It is a hard-boiled egg in the center. I'm guessing for food safety issues and just to make it easy on people, because otherwise you would have to probably ask people, how do you want your egg inside?
Okay.
But it's good. It's got good flavors. I just wish it had a light runny yolk in the middle.
Right.
Coronation salad's pretty standard. The only thing we did not get that's on the entree menu is a plant-based Impossible. I forget. It was like Impossible pie.
I think it's basically like your shepherd's pie.
Right? Okay. Let's talk about what we did get. Why don't you just take over for Lacey? We did ask Lacey if she would like to sit in and join us on this episode, and she very politely declined, is what we're going to say.
Yeah. So she got the Rose and Crown signature dish, which is beer battered fish and served with tartar sauce. And you get some chips, which are your fries, for $31.
It's good. It's always good.
2 large fishes. We were asking because, because one time we got it and it was so big that the crust to ratio fish was just in our brains. It just wasn't good, but it was good. The flavor, everything was good. Sure. But we were asking about it, and she said, it all depends on it's the weight.
Yeah.
So Lacey did get 2 large. I
should have asked her later what that weight was.
Yeah, because Lacey got 2 large pieces.
Jeez.
It was a lot. It was a lot.
I gotta say, in just my quick thinking, I'd really have to go back and think hard, like for a long time. Like, is there something better? This is one of the biggest entrees I've seen at Disney World. With these 2 giant pieces of fish, a huge mound of chips, a tartar sauce side, a ketchup side. Like this, it comes on a tray.
Yeah.
Like a small, like cafeteria metal tray. It is a ridiculous amount of food for $31.
Yeah. It was. She loved it. She almost ate all of it. I mean, literally, she ate a lot of it. I was like, because I'm like, there's no way she's eating both of these.
No.
I mean, we took a few bites, but
there was not a lot gone to waste.
I'd say she ate a whole and a half.
Yeah, easily. Yep. Easily. And then I unfortunately ate more of her chips than I should have, because they were the best. I've had them there so far.
They were really good.
In the past, we've gotten them a few times where they're a little soggy. The other issue, when you get them at Yorkshire, they do the small boats. They put the chips in. They then put the fish on top.
Oh, that's right.
By the time you go to sit and eat, some of those fries will get soggy underneath, especially when you start dousing them in malt vinegar. Mm-hmm. They can get soggy underneath. The fact that fish is on a side, chips are on a side. Yeah. They're not like all on top of each other, creating extra steam. They were crispy on the outside. They were tender on the inside. These were good. Yeah. These were really, really good.
They were.
We're going to move on to mine next. I got the bangers and mash. This is traditional English sausage with kokanen potatoes, mushroom, onion, and red wine demi sauce. This is $28. This is feels like it's a smaller portion, but it is 2 sausages and a hearty bunch of potatoes. Mm-hmm. So it looks unimpressive in size, but it's very filling, and it's a good portion when you get down to it.
Yeah.
Potatoes are light. They're very whipped. They're smooth. And then the sausages actually are big, plump, perfectly cooked sausages, ton of flavor. There's some mushrooms in there, a little bit of onion. My issue was this thing is so doused in that red wine demi that it just overpowered everything.
I wonder if you could have asked for the sauce on the side.
I would do that next time to see if it's possible.
Yeah.
It's good. I like it.
Right.
But it is a
Just too
very
much.
thick,
Yes.
rich,
Yeah.
potent red wine demi. And it is just powerful. It needs very minimal. And they soaked this entire thing in it.
Yeah.
Like when it came out, you couldn't even see the potatoes. It looked like a bowl of sauce that they had somehow floated two sausages on top.
Okay.
But
I
man,
liked it. It was good.
I'll tell you, if they could take those sausages and just throw them in a really good roll and sell that at Yorkshire along with the fish and maybe put some like sauteed onions on top, that thing would be a game changer. I'd buy it every time we went. So I really liked the sausage. And
Yeah.
again, the way it was composed was good. It just, they failed on the sauce, I think, for me personally.
Right.
So I would ask it for it on the side myself next time, or if you're worried about it being too much for yourself, right?
Absolutely.
What did you get?
Well, of course, they do have a shepherd's pie. So this is ground beef, seasonal vegetables, English peas, and mashed potatoes with Irish cheddar for $29. I loved it. It was fantastic. Lacey took a couple of bites. Yeah, I mean, it's shepherd's pie. It's great.
That meat was so flavorful.
Yeah, we have leftovers that
Yeah.
I'm like, when am I eating that?
We'll figure out a time. We ain't letting that one go to waste.
I
Like your
know.
little tostado, breakfast tostado thing. It's cool. It comes in a little like stainless steel pan that they
Yeah.
cooked it in. The only thing I would change about it is I would have given a good sprinkle of salt on the potatoes at the end on the top. That's
Okay.
it. But it didn't,
Yeah.
like, you can add that yourself. Everything else about this was great.
Right.
Same delicious whipped potatoes. And
Yeah.
that filling was, that meat was flavorful.
Those
I
are
could just
really
eat a
good.
bowl of that. Little peas and carrots and stuff. Oh, God, that was good. For dessert, like we said, there's only 2 items.
Yes.
So what did we do?
So we got both desserts, but me and Jeremy got
No.
me
You
and Lacey got
ordered.
the sticky toffee pudding. So this is steamed pudding cake served with warm vanilla custard and hot butter rum sauce for $9.50. And then they had a plant-based seasonal gelato with seasonal accompaniment for $7.75. And I believe this was just wonderful vanilla gelato.
Yeah, and then it had
With
fresh blueberries and
blueberries and
strawberries
strawberries.
underneath. It was fabulous. It
Yeah.
was creamy. When the gelato on its own was delicious as just a
Yes,
good
it
vanilla
was.
gelato. But when you added the berries into a bite, it was wonderful. It was so good that Lacey took a bite and was like, "Can I have this instead?"
Yes.
And of course, it's Lacey's weekend. Did not want to hand it over. I said, "Yes, my love." I gave her that, and I took her a sticky toffee pudding.
But this
which she liked
sticky
as well.
toffee
Yeah.
pudding is fantastic.
very good.
So good.
Here's what you need to do. What
Yep.
do you need to do, Rhonda?
Well, so I'm not sure if we should have gotten 1 sticky pudding and 2 gelatos,
Mm-hmm.
but you eat that gelato with the toffee pudding. Holy moly.
Yeah.
It was fan-flippin-tastic.
Like the way on like a Thanksgiving or a Christmas, around the cooler seasonal holidays in America, we love apple pie. Most of us love apple pie with a scoop of good vanilla ice cream on top. I gotta imagine this is what they're doing over in the UK is they're having this sticky toffee pudding with a warm scoop of vanilla on top or a cold scoop of vanilla on top. It was really good. All of this was great.
It was.
I loved it. And the toffee pudding is very, very good on its own. It just needed, I think, again, I'm all about contrast in foods. It needed that cool contrast to take over a lot of the stickiness and softness and sweetness of the toffee. But overall,
So good.
Rosencrown is great. I
We
love
always
the
loved it.
atmosphere
Yep.
in there. We've always really enjoyed it. I wish they would expand the menu to give more options because there's not a lot.
Right.
Or do something a little bit different about that. But what was cool is Ron and I were able to get our Heineken Zeros there, and
Yes.
that was included.
Yes, it was.
Because it's non-alcoholic. I'm sure that's falling under the technical adult alcoholic beverage cost.
Yes.
Because they're about $11 each anyway.
Yep.
But they were included, which was great. No extra charge for those. She actually said if you flip over the menu on the back or all the drinks, she said anything without 2 asterisks is included. And the ones with 2 asterisks were the things like the whiskey flights
Right.
but even some of the pub blends were included.
Nice.
Like I believe a snake bite is included in the dining package. So that's pretty cool. And I would still recommend those to anyone who goes to Rose and Crown. I'm just not going to have them there.
Did you notice the couple next to us, he ordered a snake bite, and then the one that ended up sitting down, he asked for a non-alcoholic beer. So we were it was just funny.
Yeah.
It felt like it was just neat. I feel like.
It was good. So we went and straight out of here, we got out here about 6:45-ish or so. And Lacey,
We went straight.
was very, very concerned with where our seat would be.
Yes.
We told her where we were for Josh Gad, and again, this is where Lacey's very much like me. When she gets fixated on something, it's very, very hard for her to get out of it. So she was fixated all day on where will we sit and how will I be able to see him. So that came up a lot.
Yes.
So we were like, we will go straight to there and get in line as soon as it is done. So we got over there about 6:45-ish, and the line was already down past the big China thingy in the water. A little bit further than we were for Josh Gad, but we're like, this is okay. We'll be good. Earlier, we had stopped in Japan in the store because Lacey loves the poppin' cooking stuff. So we're like, you can get some poppin' cooking. And we got a couple little like candy things, some high chews. We got this weird rice candy. So like we're sitting.
Mochi.
Yeah, mochi.
Super weird.
Here's another thing that I really loved about this weekend is not that you and I go to the parks and we're like run and gun, but we go to the parks, we'll get beignets and we'll like eat them while we're walking. We'll get candy from China or Japan, and we'll eat it while we're walking. Every time we got anything to eat, Lacey was like, can we go sit somewhere? And we just sat, and we enjoyed it, and it was awesome. It was like, I wanted to be like, thank you for like slowing us down.
Yeah.
Because again, in my brain, and it's another thing I was proud of myself, I didn't force anything on her. I didn't.
I was very proud of you.
And by the
too.
way, when we rope dropped Epcot, before we ever did Cosmic, we walked on standby to Soarin' and Living with the Land.
Yes.
You can add those into all our plans as well,
Yep.
right? But I was like, you want to go do... And later we did the Seas with Nemo and Friends because we had a little bit of time to kill. And we walked through Moana before dinner because we had a little bit of time to kill. So, but I was like, earlier in the day, I said, after we did Soarin' and Live with the Land, I said, we're right here. Do you want to do Nemo? And she goes, no. And I was like, okay. In my brain, I'm like, why would you not? It's a 5-minute wait. We got to get as much out of... But it didn't matter to her.
Correct.
So I just said, for this weekend, whatever doesn't matter to her doesn't matter to me. Whatever matters for her matters for me.
I'm very proud of you, honey.
And it was great. So I said, all right, let's go get in line. Well, whatever. So we get in there, though. We were trying some of these candies. Earlier, we tried the mochi. So I'll just talk about the rice candy because this was funny. It's this little like rice candy box. Most everything in there is written in Japanese, so we really don't know what it is. All we got out of it was rice candy because those were printed in English. So we open it up, and they're little individual wrapped, like almost, I'll call them saltwater taffies, kind of, right? So you get off the regular outer wrapper, and then there's another tight, like, wrapper on it. So Lacey and I are sitting there, and it's so dark. Funny. We're all sitting down at this point, and Lacey and I are trying to figure out, like, we can't get this second wrapper off.
You were like, do I squish it?
Yeah. So I'm picking at it and little pieces are coming off. It is so stuck to it. So then I start squishing it to see if the Laffy Taffy thingy will come out of it. And it starts coming out. So then I'm like, I'm just going to eat it. If I eat wrapper, then I eat wrapper. So I'm eating it, but I'm like, I don't get any wrap. There's nothing in there. So then Lacey looks and does see on the box printed in English does say outer edible wrapper.
Rice wrapper.
Rice wrapper. Right. So that's what was made of the rice was like a rice paper wrapper that you could eat. So but it was just hilarious.
Yeah.
We had my favorite part of the whole weekend was us waiting in line.
Yeah.
We were just laughing. Like we were hitting each other. Like, and we were just having the best time.
People around us were probably like, oh my God.
I hope they weren't annoyed. But we're just like, I want to turn around and be like, if we're annoying, I'm sorry, but we have our daughter and we never get to hang out with her. Right. And we're having a blast and she's laughing. Like, that kid doesn't laugh at stuff I say on purpose. If I say something funny, her friends laugh. She purposely is like, please don't think my dad's funny.
Yeah.
And here, she was laughing at stuff. Like, it was just the best.
They probably think, oh my God, you have a child that abuses you. Like, people, I'm not kidding. Like, people probably were like, oh, she's
a physical kid.
She is.
A little bit, yeah. A wrestler, kind of in that way, I would say. So we go, do you want to talk about Ralph Macchio and where we ended up seating and a couple recommendations for anybody who still has a Candlelight Processional left? Because there's quite a few.
There's a few trees that are in the American Pavilion that obviously are not undercover. And that's basically where I would get those first 1, 2, 3, 4 rows, or right there with that
after
tree.
The initial undercovered area.
Yes. Yeah. Because it was just perfect. We set Lacey on this end, and it was so funny because the Candlelight singers walked down the middle, and it scared the crap out of her.
We
and
didn't
I was
tell
like,
her.
Yes,
That's the thing.
because I thought it would.
She's going, well, what is this? What is that guy?
Right.
Who stands up there? Who does this? Where do they come?
Right.
And I'm like, I'm not going to tell you any more because I just want you to enjoy it and be surprised. So I didn't tell her those people were walking down the aisle.
I didn't either.
I watched her.
Yep.
And as soon as they came, she looked to her right and she jumped a little. It was funny.
Awesome.
But it is a great seat. As we've mentioned, those first couple rows, if you get too close, it's just hard to see because you're really just looking up at one section of the orchestra.
Right.
You really want a 180 view of this
100%.
entire stage, right? From left to right. And so when you get back a little bit under the covered area, now, if you're able to get in the fifth row underneath, that can be good.
Yeah.
But if you're not first in line, you're going to be way off to like stage right. You know, and you're going to have this weird angle. So we're just like, we don't want to fight with anybody. We don't want to like have to rush and feel like, do we get this? What about that road? Second guess ourselves. We know where we're going, and that's where we're going.
Yep.
And it's a wonderful seat. It's a dead-on look. You get to see the entire stage, the singers, the conduct, everything. It's awesome.
Yes.
And Ralph Macchio was outstanding.
He was. It was neat.
She kept, is he coming out next? Is he coming out next? When's he coming out? When's he coming out?
I'm like,
and
there he
after
is.
Said, here he comes. And she just lit up.
She
like,
did.
When he got up there, and I heard him speak for the first time because I love Cobra Kai. I need to catch up and watch the first half of season 6 that was released. But just hearing his voice, I was just like, that's Daniel's son. Like, this is crazy. And he was absolutely wonderful. And I love, obviously Josh Gad is Olaf. Josh Gad is LeFou. Ralph Macchio is not anyone within the Disney verse, but he has ties to Disney. He talked about his kids and growing up and all that stuff. And then he closed it. It was in the introduction. I think everybody's just sitting like, say Karate Kid, say Daniel, say Johnny Lawrence, say anything. And he made no references to any of his work.
Correct.
Because he saved it all for the end.
Yeah.
Powerful, just an amazing experience up here. I just want to thank everyone for joining us this evening. I have sincerely enjoyed being here, beyond enjoyed. I go back to the Buzz Lightyear. I go beyond all the time. And I hope you've enjoyed this Candlelight Processional. For me, being up here, surrounded by this extraordinary talent and artistry and musicians and lyrics, it's so moving, it's so magical and so inspirational, and it's a two-way street of inspiration, because I see all you Miyagi-Dos out there. I see you. For you to find balance in your life, it will pay dividends. I promise, and I know we're in Florida, so there's got to be a bunch of Cousin Vinnies out there too. Okay, and some Outsiders fans. We did it for Johnny and Stay Gold. That's what I can say. Thank you all. Have a wonderful holiday season. Thank you for having me. Merry Christmas, everyone.
Yeah, it was so good. We really, really enjoyed it. It was super cute. Lacey was like, why are we standing with the hallelujah?
Yep.
And I meant to explain that to her, but anyways, it was just so great. And then afterwards we were like, do you want to go to Magic or what do you want to do? And she was like, I just want to go back to the hotel. And I was like, that's fine.
Yep.
So
went back to the hotel. We chilled.
Got
We
some
watched.
food.
Got some
Y'all
food
got some
again.
food, which
we
I thought
watched-
was surprising because
But you remember we didn't eat a lunch meal, so we were coming back from that food, and I said to Lacey, Lacey, our dinner was basically our lunch. That means this is our dinner. And she was like, yeah, that sounds good. Like she needed almost like reassurance that
so
this is okay, that it's like now 10 o'clock at night.
Right.
And we are going to eat this. One other thing I meant to say earlier, if we had gone to Magic Kingdom, my plan to get there the quickest, hopefully as possible, since we were already in America Pavilion, was to go out the back to Beach Club and hop on a bus to Magic Kingdom.
Yep.
Instead of fighting everyone who, a lot of people are getting out of there, even though Luminous is at 9:30. This is around 9 o'clock. There's a lot of people fighting to get to those front buses. Instead of going there, trying to catch a bus to Magic, trying to catch a bus back to your resort, and then a bus to whatever it was, that's the way I would have gone. So just a little tip for everyone.
And then when we're at Magic, all you have to do, obviously, is take a bus back to ours.
Right back to All-Star Sports.
Yep.
So we used all Disney transportation throughout the day. I loved this. Now I'm like, we need this with Kaylin. Like, and maybe it's not going to be Disney, but we need I want a weekend with Kaylin.
Yeah.
Who to be honest, we get along with a lot better. Who talks to us, who
Yes.
spends time with us. And as Lacey's coming to her own, she's just her very own person. So it was great to have her and be like, and she's a really awesome kid. She's great.
Yep.
When you're in those situations. And now I know.
Yep.
I know every time I'm going to take a break. When Lacey does something that annoys me, I'm going to go, that's exactly what I would do. Now, how would I want someone to respond to me?
That's right.
And there I go.
Well, and I'm the same way where I've been learning and she does something that I go, that was me. So how would I respond? So yeah, so it's fun, but
We probably
yeah.
shouldn't tell either of our parents because they're going to be see?
My mom. No,
Yours
I've
do,
still
yeah.
apologized.
Yeah.
And I'm like, when will she get better?
Yeah.
And they were like, well, maybe 17, maybe you'll be 16. So I'm like, oh Lord. But no, it was a phenomenal weekend. I love us now, and it's so neat because we're gonna celebrate 19 years married in April. But I feel like it's year 1 with us not drinking, and it's just amazing, and it's wonderful, and the kids love it, and wow. It was wonderful.
It was a great trip.
So,
we got another quick one coming up for the end of the year. We are going to go down. We're going to stay at the Renaissance on Thursday, which used to be B Resort over there in Disney Springs. They have completely new ownership, completely refurbed. So we're interested to check that out. We are also, is it Wakuli? I'm just sorry, I'm not looking at it. The new bar and grill, which is open at the new tower at the Polynesian Village Resorts. We're going to go for dinner there on Thursday. We'll get to bring that to you. And then I think we're taking a few weeks off from Disney to finish out the year. Yep. But we're going to have plenty of content in between then and our next trip. So go ahead and hit that subscribe button, and you can get those brand new episodes every Tuesday and Friday. And if you are ready for that next trip, of course, no matter where you want to go, our trusted partner, MEI-Travel, will handle the planning so you can focus on the memories. They offer free vacation planning services and have nearly 20 years of experience creating memorable vacations. Visit mainstmagic.com/travel for a fee-free, no-obligation quote today. And then, of course, as long as you are out there, Rhonda and I would be so thankful if you could please leave us a rating and review.
And so would Lacey, because it helps our show grow.
That's all we've got. We'll see you real soon.
Jeremy and Rhonda are more than a little fond of Disney World, so they made this podcast to share it all with you. Reports and resorts, top 10 lists of all sorts, Main Street Magic's bringing it home for you.